Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but many things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information comes from the smart device application Today in History, What Happened Today in History,
Historical calendar,
and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else we gather throughout the show, check the description. Anyway, I am Xander.
I am me, Lunk.
And today is Tears Day, aka Tuesday, April 19th, 2022. Starting us off today in the year 65, which is 1,957 years ago, for anybody interested, the freedman Michaelis betrayed, or the freedman Michaelis, which means that he was free from slavery, he betrayed Piso's plot to kill the Emperor Nero, and all the conspirators were arrested. Wow.
Holy
Damn.
shit.
That snitch is going to get a serious stitch, tell you that much. Dang.
Well, in that time, it's either tell or die, and mostly, unless that person was extremely loyal to you, then yes.
Dude, the only thing that's going through my mind is when Commander Shepard betrayed you. Betrayal! You know?
Yeah. Also, 531, Battle of Calendium. The Byzantine army under Belisarius is defeated by the Persians at Rock, North Syria.
Huh. Why don't you take the next one as well?
Wow, Calensium sounds like some medicine you take for calcium.
Calincium, yeah. Take a Calincium. It makes your bones stronger.
Also, 797, Empress deposed and blinded shortly after Constantine dies of his wounds. Irene proclaims herself Basilius.
Dang. Deposed and blinded. So that means that they thumbed her eyes, or something. It's awful. Ugh. Doing a pretty considerable time jump here, multiplying the years times 2, maybe. Actually, no, not really. Anyway, 1506, the Lisbon Massacre began, in which accused Jews were slaughtered by Portuguese Catholics. Jay.
Fucking Catholics.
Portuguese, though, dude. Like everybody's hating on Jews. Never heard of anything out of Portugal. They're like the Canada of Europe. I think.
Also, 1529, beginning of the Protestant Reformation after the Second Diet of Prayer banned Lutheranism, a group of rulers, Germans first, and independent cities protest the reinstatement of the Edict of Worms.
The Edict of Worms. Let's see here. Emperor Charles V passed the Edict of Worms, which banned Luther's writings and declared him a heretic and an enemy of the state. Although the edict mandated that Luther should be captured and turned over to the emperor, it was never enforced. Alright. That's from the Diet of Worms and everything. I'm going to add the Diet of Worms wiki to the underbar, but before I do, I'm going to take us up into the year 1539, in which the Treaty of Frankfurt between Protestants and the Holy Roman Emperor was signed. Interesting. Actually, I want to look up the Treaty of Frankfurt, too, so let me add this link real quick to the underbar. The Treaty of Frankfurt. Copy and paste. The Treaty of Frankfurt was a peace treaty signed in Frankfurt on May 10th in 1871 at the end of the Franco-Prussian War. Alright. So, no, wait a minute. This is 1539. This is something else. That's 1871. So there's multiple treaties of Frankfurts. 1539. Okay, here we go. Also known as the Truce of Frankfurt, was a formal agreement of peace between Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor, and Protestants on April 19th in 1539. The parties met at Frankfurt on the Main, and the Lutherans were represented by Philip Melchizedek. For further information, even though there's only like a couple more sentences here on the wiki, I'm going to add this to the underbar as well. And then why don't you take the next 3 articles here? I've been just non-stop talking.
talking about 1713, right?
1608.
1608 in Ireland, Old Dorothy Rebellion is launched by the burning of Derry. Ooh, that sucks.
Dang.
Also, 1617, 1819. Well, okay, besides the point. Besides that, 1617, the town of Usenkonik, Swedish new town, is founded by King Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden.
All right, so anyone in that town, whatever the name may be, happy birthday, town. Why don't you take 1713 as well?
1713, with no living male heirs, Charles VI, Holy Roman Emperor, issues a pragmatic sanction of 1713 to assure that Habsburg lands and the Austrian throne would be inherited by a female. His daughter and successor, Maria Theresa, was not born until 1717.
Dang, so he did this and then tried for a child, like any child, for another 4 years. It sounds like this guy has some Hank Hill syndrome going on. Moving on up into the year 1770, Marie Antoinette married Louis the 16th of France in a proxy wedding, which means that one of them wasn't actually there. There was just a, yeah, if I'm correct. That's what a proxy means, right?
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Also, 1770, Captain James Cook still holding the rank of lieutenant, on the eastern coast of what is now Australia.
Nice. The eastern coast. So yeah, this is before. Yeah, this is way before they started. Yeah, because it wasn't until like after the American Revolution, after the UK lost the colonies, and then they started colonizing Australia. So yeah, if it wasn't for France, there would not be a U.S., and by extension, if it wasn't for a U.S., there would not be an Australia, as far as we know today. So, isn't history wonderful?
Yeah.
Jumping on up into 1775, during the American Revolutionary War, the war began with an American victory in Concord during the battles of Lexington and Concord. Oh, look at that, the start of the revolution.
Speaking of which, that's it. Also, 1782, John Adams secures Dutch recognition of the United States as an independent government. The house which he had purchased in the Hague becomes the first American embassy.
Nice. Really cool. Really cool. 240 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on up into the 1800s, specifically in 1809, an Austrian corps was defeated by the forces of the Duchy of Warsaw in the Battle of Radziwiłł, part of the struggles of the Fifth Coalition. On the same day, the Austrian main army was defeated by a French Empire corps led by Louis Nicolas Davout at the Battle of Teugn-Hausen in Bavaria, part of a 4-day campaign that ended at French victory. Nice.
Oh, damn. Also, 1810, Venezuela archived home rule. Vincent Imparan, governor of the Capitani General, is removed by the people of Caracas, and a junta is installed.
Oh, dang. Juntas are always not good. Moving on up into 1818, French physicist Augustin Fresnel signed his preliminary note on the theory of diffraction, deposited the following day. This document ends with what we now call the Fresnel integrals. Integrals, yeah. Which I'm going to look up Fresnel integrals. I can't even say the word. Why would I understand it?
Why you do that? I'm going to tell you about 1839. The Treaty of London established Belgium as a kingdom and guarantees its neutrality.
Nice. I looked up the integrals, and I'm not even going to read that. It's just well beyond my pay grade, my comprehension. I'm just going to take us up to 1861, in which, during the American Civil War, the Baltimore riot of 1861 occurred, seeing a pro-secession mob in Baltimore attacking United States Army troops marching through the city. Never good to attack troops. What happened in 1903?
1903, the Kingship the pogrom.
Pogrom.
Is it?
Yeah, that's actually a word,
Yeah.
pogrom.
Pogrom, okay, I know. Forcing tens of thousands of Jews later to seek refuge in Palestine and the Western world. Wow, look at that shit.
Dang. Looks like I had another article sneaking in here.
Look at that shit, hypocrites. Wow. See that shit? They fucking,
Yeah. No, see? That's why Palestine doesn't exist anymore. They went in there and they got rid of it.
yeah.
Moving on up into 1927, Mae West was sentenced to 10 days in jail for obscenity for her play, Sex. Wow.
Wow.
Well, wow, just not holding anything back. What's the name of the play? Sex. What's it about? Sex. What do you do in that play?
Yeah.
Fucking sex.
That is minor on what the shit that happens today.
Yeah, well, unless they're fully on, like, going at it on stage, you know? It's visual art. You remember, like that one lady who was naked in Times Square and making ice cream out of her breast milk or something crazy? Like, people are just nuts. Anyway, moving on up into 1942, during World War II, in German-occupied Poland, the Majdan-Tatarski Ghetto was established, situated between the Lublin Ghetto and a Majdanek subcamp. So it sounds like they have an entire, you know, I don't know, like, cities of camps and such.
Yep. Also, 1943, Albert Hoffman deliberately doses himself with LSD for the first time 3 days after having discovered the effects on April 16th.
Man, yeah, we were talking about this the other day. First guy to try LSD. Damn. Or actually, probably not the first time. Well, hold on a second. First person to try LSD is chemist Albert Hoffman. Okay, so it was this guy. I wasn't sure if he figured out the effects by testing it on a human or like on a lab rat or whatever.
Oh no, he read a man like he's gonna give it to somebody else so they can have the fucking fun. That's what he's saying. He's gonna be tripping balls. Yo. I want a whole other galaxy. And with Da Vinci.
My hands, they can touch everything but themselves. Anyway, also in 1943, during the Second World War, wait a minute. Yeah, no, this is another one. In German-occupied Poland, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising began after German troops entered the Warsaw Ghetto to round up the remaining Jews. So, fight the power! Fight it!
Also, 1956, actress Grace Kelly married Prince Rainier of Monaco.
Yeah, I just saw something a little interesting, though, with this article.
Yeah?
Broken by a parenthesis, we have the number of the beast.
Okay.
Yeah, I just saw 666. So, moving it up 4 more years into 1960, which is 62 years ago for anyone interested, students in South Korea hold a nationwide democracy protest against President Syngman Rhee, eventually forcing him to resign. See, the power of protest, you know, it gets things done, you know. The world wouldn't be the way it is today if it wasn't for all the protests for the Alphabet Mafia, BLM, Antifa, all these people. They're out there banging the drums. It's time we start doing the same. So.
No, that's what they want. They want a war.
No, not violently. Not violently. We don't gotta burn down cities to prove a point like they do. So.
1971, Charles Manson is sentenced to death after commuting to life imprisonment for conspiracy in the Tank Bianca murders.
Good.
Ooh.
That guy was a nut job. Also in 1971, Sierra Leone became a republic and Siaka Stevens became its president. Nice. And then also that same year, same date, 1971, launch of Salyut first, the first space station. Oh, nice, the first space station. What happened in 1973?
1973, Portuguese Socialist Party is founded in the German town of Bad Münsterville.
That sounds pretty bad. Bad Munster. 2 years later, in 1975, South Vietnamese forces withdrew from the town of Xuan Loc in the last major battle of the Vietnam War. Okay, look at that. Almost done.
Also, 1975, India's first satellite, Arabu Bihata, launched in orbit from Caspian Yar, Russia.
Interesting. So, like, even the Indians were using the Russians. Like we are today. 9 years later, in 1984, Advanced Australia Fair was proclaimed as Australia's national anthem and green and gold as the national colours.
Damn. Oh.
What the hell is a colour? Isn't that like a type of alcohol? A liqueur?
Yes, Kahlua is a alcohol.
Ah. No, I wasn't
Actually,
saying...
coffee.
I didn't say Kahlua, I said colour.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, you know, like I understand, you know, European languages putting a U in the word color and a couple other things, but it's not necessary. It's color, not colour. What happened in 1985?
1985. 200 ATF and... Wait, let me go back. 200 ATF and FBI agents laid siege to the compound of the white supremacist survival group, the Covenant, the sword and the arm of the Lord, Arkansas. The CSA surrenders 2 days later. Good.
That's a little worrisome. Their abbreviation is the same thing as Confederate States of America. So, 2 years later, in 1987, The Simps first appeared as a series of shorts on the Tracy Ullman Show, first starting with Good Night. Then in 1989, a gun turret exploded on the USS Iowa, killing 47 sailors. So this is when it happened. I've been on the Iowa. It's out in the LA harbor. And I remember reading about that while on the ship. An accidental, or was supposedly an accidental munitions munitions explosion. It killed, like among the dead were a couple openly gay sailors. And there's a whole conspiracy saying that something happened to kill them off. So, I don't know. But, yeah. Awful. What happened in 93?
And, okay. Come on, stop acting dumb. Oh, 1993, the 51-day FBI siege of the Branch Davidian building in Waco, Texas, USA ends when a fire breaks out. 76 Davidians, including 18 children under the age of 10, died in the fire, which was horrible.
Yep, and this is precisely why we don't need militarized police force attacking citizens. You know, like they rolled up there with tanks. That's absolutely unnecessary. You know, in a 51-day siege, what the hell, why? You know, like, it's completely unnecessary.
I know.
Moving on up into 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing. The Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, United States, was bombed, killing 168 people, including 19 children under the age of 6. That's awful.
That was horrible, even though that was a retaliation to Waco.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, it's just 2 years later on the day. Man, there's so much, like, disastrous events today. You know, the Iowa, the Waco, the Oklahoma City bombing, you know, The Simpsons. A thing happened in 1985, you know, the CSA people, like, a lot of horrible events happening today, apparently.
Also 2000, Air Philippines Flight 541 crashes in Samal de Valle de Norte, killing all 131 people on board.
Jesus Christ. We missed one here in between. We actually had a decent article here in 1993. The German Bundestag returned to Berlin. What is the Bundestag? Let me look that up real quick. The German Bundestag. Oh, it is the German federal parliament. It is the only federal representative body that is directly elected by the German people. It is comparable to the United States House of Representatives or the House of Commons in the United Kingdom. So they returned to Germany finally in '99. I guess after, it finally got reformed and everything. So, but then in 2005, Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger was elected to the papacy and became Pope Benedict the 16th.
Yeah,
he didn't
Pope
last
Benedict.
that long.
Also, 2011, Fidel Castro resigns as the first Secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba after holding the title since July 1961.
That's 50 straight years right there.
Yes.
It's intense. Why don't you take this next one here?
Also, 2013, Boston Marathon bombing suspect Tamerlan Sarsneff is killed in a shootout with police. His brother, his whole car, is later captured hiding in a boat inside a backyard in the suburban of Watertown. Okay.
Dang.
Yeah.
And last but not least, in 2020, just 2 years ago, a killing spree in Nova Scotia, Canada, left 22 people and the perpetrator dead, making it the deadliest rampage in the country's history. Wow, Canada is getting off lucky. 23 people dead, deadliest rampage. That's still pretty not good, but, you know. Anyway.
Wow. I could imagine the guy shooting, sorry. The gun only takes about 2 shots, eh?
Dang. Just awful. Before we get into births and deaths, any articles get your attention today?
Yeah, Oklahoma City bombing, the Boston Marathon, one of the bombers getting killed, the other one getting arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Pope Benedict, The Simpsons.
Yeah. So don't forget about this.
And that one woman being arrested for obscenity.
Oh yeah, yeah. With their play Sex. But yeah, there's also the Iowa, Waco, ending. The ATF and FBI agents, destroying the CSA. Australia's national anthem, like India's first satellite, the first space station, Salyut's the first, they're one. Charles Manson being sentenced to death. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened today. Like, holy crap. A lot of stuff. Anyway, let's get into bursts here. Why don't you start us off?
Yes, in 1452, Frederick IV, King of Naples.
1613, Christoph Bach, German musician. Is this the same? Is this Bach, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, that's not.
Okay.
Somebody else.
Okay, I'll leave him in. Who else was born today?
1757, Edward Pellew, first Viscount Exmouth, English admiral and politician. Oh my God, Exmouth.
Yeah, what happened to his mouth? Did it disappear like Neo's in the Matrix?
Yeah.
1877, Ole Evinrude, a Norwegian-American engineer who invented the outboard motor. So, if you ever go boating, you've probably had one of these. And in 1897, we have Jiramin Kimura, a Japanese supercentenarian who is also the oldest verified man ever, dying in the year 2013.
Yeah.
So from 1897 to 2013, that's 106 years. He lived through the turn of the century, automobile, airplane, telephone, World War I, the Great Depression, the Roaring '20s, gangster era, World War II, the space age. He went through all of that. Could you imagine living that life? Oh my god, that's amazing.
Okay.
You get a good one here.
Yeah. That's gangsta. Gangsta paradise.
Who was born today in 1943?
1943, Tim Curry, English actor and singer. I didn't know he sung, but yes, I could see him singing because pretty much, that one movie.
I wonder if he's. I wonder if he's singing in the last area that has not been affected by capitalism. Space! Sorry, I had to. 1972, Rivaldo Vitor Borra Ferreira was born on the States. They are a Brazilian footballer.
1978, James Franco, U.S. actor, director, producer, and screenwriter.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of births today. But we have a decent amount of deaths, starting us off in 843, Judith of Bavaria, a Frankish empress. And here's this name that you liked yesterday.
Oh God, Edith Hare of Canterbury, English Archbishop and Saint.
Yep. Died to date in 1012.
Yep, 1012.
1686, Antonio de Solis y Ribadeneyra, a Spanish historian and playwright.
1813, Benjamin Rush, American physician and educator.
Why is he in such a rush? 1824, we have Lord Byron, English, Scottish poet and playwright. Let's go Byron.
Also, 1813, Johann Gottlieb Friedrich von Bohnenberger, German astronomer and mathematician.
He did what to his burger?
Bohnenberger.
He boned his burger. Damn.
Yeah.
1833, James Gambier, 1st Baron Gambier, a Bahamian English admiral and politician who is the 36th Commodore Governor of Newfoundland.
Nice. Also, 1882, Charles Darwin, English biologist and theorist.
1901, Alfred Horatio Bellow died on this date, a U.S. publisher who founded the Dallas Morning News.
Also, 1906, Pierre Curie, French physician and academic.
I believe he was with Madame Curie. Marie Curie. Because he was a French physicist, a pioneer in crystallography, magnetism, piezoelectricity, and radioactivity. What the hell is piezoelectricity? Let me look that up. That's interesting.
Oh, well, right to that. 1916, Ephraim Say, U.S. engineer who designed the Say locomotive.
Well, that's another thing I gotta look up. But before I do, piezoelectricity is the electric charge that accumulates in certain solid materials, such as crystals, certain ceramics, and biological matter, such as bone, DNA, and various proteins. In response to applied mechanical stress, the word piezoelectricity means electricity by resulting from pressure and latent heat. I'm going to add those links to the underbar, but the Shay locomotive is a geared steam locomotive that originated and was primarily used in North America. So I'm going to add all three of these links to the underbar. And while I do, why don't you take the next couple of deaths here?
Okay. Talking about Alexander, like 1926.
Oh yeah, well I'll take this one here. 1926, we have Alexander Alexandrovich Chuprov, a Russian-Swiss statistician and theorist.
Okay. And in 1937, Barton Conway, 1st Baron Conway of Arlington, English cartographer and politician. 1976, Conrad Adenauer, German politician who was the first Chancellor of Germany.
And in 2004, Norris McWhirter died on this date. He was an English author and activist who co-founded the Guinness World Records. Really cool. 2009, J.G. Ballard, an English novelist and short story writer and essayist. What's his full name, actually? Let me look it up here. J.G. Ballard, James Graham Ballard. Alright. And why don't you take the last death here?
And 2013, Al Bearhart, U.S. journalist, author, and publisher who founded USA Today.
Yep. And that concludes the show. Once again, check the description, the underbar, for any links that you may be interested in, which also include
Sohan TV on Twitch.
And everything OMNI Coalition. For your dose of past events daily, we stream every day between 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific time.
2 to 5 Central.
Yep. And for all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander.
I am me.
And you are you. And until you see us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Until then, toodles. Let's go, Brandon.